Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Maison African Motives. In this platform we are not going to waste much of our time, guys. I just want you to know the basics of construction, which is one of the major part that you're going to be working with in our construction. And this part I'm going to add with bearing in another class so that we can actually know everything about construction. But for the meantime, I just want you to know the basics of the major angles that are in our syllabus, and these angles are the ones that you actually need to know how to construct: 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 300 degrees, 120 degrees. We all need to understand the basic part. So what's happening actually here? What are we having? In this case, we are going to see that all these angles, they're going to be generated from the two major angles, and the two major angles is an angle of 60 degrees and the one of 90 degrees. So these are the two major angles in our syllabus that we actually need to know. Once you know these two angles, you are home and dry. You can calculate, you can construct any other angle of your choice. Okay, by constructing by constructing 60 degrees, you are simply constructing 120 degrees. What do I mean here? Remember the concept of a straight line. If I'm given this is my straight line, and I actually know that angles on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. So it means if I'm saying this is my 60 degrees here, then from 180 degrees, what am I going to have? I'm having the remaining of this angle. All right, let me just try and select another marker, maybe this one. Okay, it's fine like that. Let me just get back here like this one. This is what I'm going to have on this side. So it means this angle will be 120 degrees. And to construct these angles is actually one of the easiest ways that we must actually know. And this 60 can be either way. It can be like this. It's not like you're just having from one side. You can have your 60 degrees from this side. Still one and the same thing. This is my 60 degrees that is on this angle here. I'm having my 60 degrees here. And what does it mean? It means this remaining angle is going to be 120 degrees. Okay, so it's all about knowing the concept of a straight line and the angles. That is what is important in this case. Okay, so let us start now to construct from these angles. I'm just going to start with 60 degrees. So how do I construct an angle of 60 degrees? Okay, so we're going to have constructing, not construct, but it's constructing. All right, so this is constructing 60 degrees. Okay, so how are you going to have this? So basically you need your instruments, you need your compass and your ruler there. These are the two instruments that we need in our constructions: a ruler and our compass. These two, they can actually make things work nicely. All right, so that's it. Our ruler there, our compass. Then I'm going to remove this. Okay, so this is what you're going to have in this case. All constructions actually start from a point or a line, whatever that you're going to have. So in this case, I want to construct 60 degrees. So this is my ruler. I'm just going to mark a line on this point, on this ruler, where I'm going to have my constructions done. So on this line, everything now, this is your masterpiece of your construction. You must be able to play around this, your masterpiece of construction, to move it freely, to rotate it freely, whatever that you're going to have. But this is your masterpiece of construction. To change the dimension, this part, to open and close, you must be able to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do to construct 60, this was the major part. I'm just going to do the original way that it was supposed to be. Like the original way, you were supposed to mark an arc on your line like this one. Let's have it, our arc here. I'm just going to mark an arc of my choice. So this is the first arc, which is my reference arc, or my arc of the choice. This is where I want my 60 degrees to be at. Okay, so from this arc, you were supposed to step with this arc again. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do. You open this distance of your choice. Okay, so this distance here, you open of your choice. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So like I said, I'm going to do the traditional, like the way that it was supposed to be, the basic way it was supposed to be like this. You were supposed to draw a semicircle like this. Okay, so that was supposed to be the basic way of doing this diagram. You're supposed to have a semicircle like this. Now it's gonna depend, do I want my 60 degrees to be on the left hand side, or I want it to be on the right hand side? So that will be depending with what I want. Okay, so as you saw that I never changed this distance here. If I'm to get back here, I never changed this distance that I had. If I'm to place back, you see it's still the same distance that I had here. Is still the same. I didn't change. I just changed this to move it, but the distance is still the same. So without changing this distance, make sure you know the side where you want your 60 degrees to be. Okay, so in this case I want my 60 degrees to be on the right side here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to step on this point where I have my semicircle or the arc on the right side. Okay, then place it back. I have to mark back to this arc here, so I have to mark as you can see here, they are going to meet at this point, so that's where I'm going to start marking like this. Okay, so where these two meet, the part of the semicircle and this arc where these two meet, I'm going to join now with my ruler. Now that's where I'm now using my ruler now to join this part. So I'm just gonna reduce this. All right, so I'm having something of this nature. I need something of this nature here. Okay, so let's just hope they're just going to join each other. Let's just hope so, guys. These two are going to join each other. All right, so that's it, guys. As we can see here, it's even showing me here 60 degrees on my ruler, but on your ruler it doesn't show because it's a natural ruler, that one. But this one, it can show me what is happening here. So if I join this part here, as you can see, I'm having an angle that I've created here, which means I have managed to construct an angle of 60 degrees on this part. So okay, I can just even remove this for the meantime. Okay, so that's it, guys. I'm having my 60 degrees here. I've constructed an angle of 60 degrees. So what does it mean? The remaining angle is of 120 degrees. So that's how you simply construct your 60 degrees. But now you see, guys, instead of us having this major arc that we had there, you see that arc that we had, we can avoid all this. How are we going to avoid this? Okay, we can simply do this. Instead of us having that bigger semi-sequence, because remember, this is construction and this is not the only question that you're answering. There are so many questions that you're going to attempt there on that same question. So this is what you're going to do. You just mark something of this nature here using your ruler. You do those steps that we did. Mark an arc of your choice that you're going to start with on this line. So this one is just of your choice. You just mark it anyway, depending with your diagram. Okay, so here I'm just going to mark my arc starting from this point like this. Okay, so instead of me having that semicircle from this point, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to draw an arc like this. Okay, just an arc, just a normal arc like this one. I can see that, okay, I can actually have my my 60 degrees on this side. Then step it where this arc and the line meet. I'm just gonna shift this side so that I'll see that, okay, these two, they are going to meet at this point. So I'm just going to have my arc. As you can see, it's gonna be a nicer and simpler diagram than the one that I was having, where I'm now having a semicircle. I'm having a lot of things there. Yes, it's fine, but remember that this is not the only question that you're answering on your question paper. There are so many questions that you need to attempt on that same question paper, so be very, very careful. All right, so at this point I'm having my 60 degrees, so I can just shift a little bit here so that I can join from this point. And also, this is construction. Do not do as if you are drawing. This point has to, line has to extend this line. It's not like this. I'm constructing 60 degrees, so it must be like this. At this point, this is 60 degrees. No, extend these lines. This is construction. It's not something like that is direct or specific at that moment. Okay, so that's what you're going to have. So you have constructed an angle of 60 degrees. So by constructing 60 degrees, we are constructing 120 degrees. Okay, so what I want you to do is to do the same thing. Construct your 60 degrees, this time on the left hand side. So what are you going to do if you want to make it on the left hand side? It's just one and the same thing. We're just going to take this side. All right, so we need our ruler back, just like what we saw in our previous case. I'm just going to take my ruler here. All right, so okay, let me use my mouse. Okay, so this is it. Okay, like this. We just mark our line. On the line, this is where we are going to start our construction from. So I'm just going to shift this a little bit. Since I want my 60 degrees to be on the left side this time. Okay, the issue of marking this point does not matter. How are you going to mark it? But this is just your reference point. Okay, now you want your 60 to be on the left side, which is this side here. So that is where you are going to have that arc from. You're going to have your arc on the left side. So that means you can have your arc on the left side like this. So like I said, there's no need for you to have the complete circle, semicircle like that one. Okay, so stepping here on this arc without changing the distance, make sure that distance that you are having, this one, does not change. You do not change it as it is. You mark at this point. Okay, then you have to construct back to this line. So I'm just going to shift a little bit. This point I can see, okay, they can join at this point, so that's fine for me. Where these two meet, I'm just going to join there to the what, to the reference point, which is this one. So with my ruler here, okay, my ruler, please shift. Okay, so my ruler is shifted to a point that I want here, so I'm just going to use this measurement here. All right, rotate my ruler so that okay, I can even reduce this to this point. All right, so let's see what we're gonna have. 120 somewhere here. So yours, guys, is direct because you do not like need to measure anything. You're just joining, but here I have to measure so that I can join properly. Okay, something like of this nature. So if I join this, it means I have created an angle of what, of 60 degrees. Here I have created an angle of 120 degrees. So creating an angle of 60 degrees is actually creating an angle of 120 degrees at the same time. So it depends with where you want your 120 degrees to be, inside the shape or outside of the shape. So if you want it to be inside the shape, then you depends with the sketch that you'll be having or the diagram that you'll be having there. That is the one that is most important, but that's how we end up with our 60 degrees there. All right, so that's it, guys. Let us move on to the other angle before we now have the other angles, like how are we going to have these other angles from 60 or from 90. We have got an angle of in this case, which is 90 degrees. That is the best, that is the major angle that you actually have in our syllabus there. Okay, this thing might actually move to where I want it to be. Okay, so where is it? Let me just try and adjust this side to this side. Okay, it's even not allowing me to do that, so I'm just going to insert another one. It's fine if it does that. Let me just insert another one. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I want to mark my 90 degrees using this one. Okay, it was about to save. Okay, so it was me who was actually rushing. Okay, anyways, I'm just gonna have my point here. Right, no, I need my ruler back. I need my ruler back. I just want to erase this thing. Okay, just want to erase this thing. Is it erasing? Okay, it's not erasing. Why is not erasing? Okay, I can just mark from there. Okay, so let me just mark from this point. That's gonna be my first reference point that I need to use in this case. All right, so this is 90 degrees, so we are at 90 degrees now. I want to construct 90 degrees. So 90 degrees does not matter because it can be on this side 90, 90, 90, 90. So it doesn't matter how we are going to have it, but everything starts from a point. Okay, just as usual, you have to mark your points. In this case, I'm just going to mark a point, which is my reference point, which is this one. So this is what you do. You have marked a point of your reference in this case. Okay, so this time you are going back to this point, which is your center, which is your reference point. Okay, what you do is that you mark 2 points. This time you can change this length to your choice. Okay, so it does depend with what you want. You want to be like this or like that. So you just mark a point here, an arc on this point, on this line, and also an arc on this line like this. Okay, so with these two arcs, make sure that you do not change now this distance that is in between, like this one. It doesn't change. As you can see, so I'm still having the same distance that I marked. So when I say, when you mark from this side, you have to mark then from this you mark without changing the distance. Okay, that then after that, from this you are going to back to these 2 points here. That is this point and this point here. These are the 2 points that you're going to use. So how am I going to have our 90? We are going to step at this point. As you can see, if we place back, it is going to direct to the center. This is now your center point. This is now your center. So what you do, you just open more than half of the line, which means by just exceeding the center is now more than half. Then you will simply construct an arc on top here. So you're going to have an arc on top. Then you do the same arc below here. Okay, so let's just shift our ruler. This side doesn't work for the meantime. So we have our arc again down here. All right, so without changing that half, more than half distance that you have, do not change this. You have to step on this point and mark back to those arcs here. So you're gonna have something like this. You mark an arc here. Okay, so this one, they are not joining for the meantime. It means the first arc was small. That one is not a problem. You are just going back to that point. Okay, so this is what you do. Like, they are supposed to intersect like this one. So this one, they do not intersect. What am I going to do? I just going back here. Okay, just mark again back like this. As you can see, I just have to go back to that line that I had before. So I just have to extend. By doing this, they are going to meet at one point. So what do I need now? I need my ruler. to join from this one, so that I can be able to actually join these two here. So with my ruler, I'm going to place it here between these 2 points. All right, so that's it. I'm having my 90 degrees by just joining these 2 points. I'm going to have my 90 degrees here. So this angle will be 90 degrees, this angle will be 90, 90, 90. So it depends with where you want your 90 degrees to be. Also, how you construct your 90 degrees is actually the same way that you construct a north pole if you are under bearing. If you are given a question under bearing, for you to construct a north pole, you just construct 90 degrees like this. Okay, so these are the angles that we have in our syllabus, guys, that you're supposed to know. And like we said, we have got 30 degrees, we have got 45 degrees. Where are we going to have those angles now? We are now on the part of bisecting angles. You're supposed to know what is to bisect. Before we talk of bisecting angles, what is to bisect? To bisect is just to divide into 2 equal parts. That is to divide into 2 equal parts, or 2 equal what? Portions. Okay, that's the spelling there, just cross-check your portions. Okay, that is to divide into 2 equal parts or 2 equal portions. So that means if I am bisecting 60 degrees, I'm dividing into 2 equal parts, so it means I'm going to have 30 degrees and another angle will be 30 degrees. So it will be 30 that to obtain what? To obtain 60 degrees. The same 90 degrees, if I bisect into 2, I'm going to have 45 degrees, 45 degrees, so it will be 45, 45, that is the case, so it will be 45, 45 degrees. All right, so this is actually the case that you're going to have for these angles. Okay, so how do we construct this? Already we have talked about constructing what? Constructing 60 degrees. We have already constructed our 60 degrees, if you have to cross-check there. So it's just a continuation that you're going to have at the end. And we are just going to see how this construction is going to be like. Why is it not extending upwards? This is my ruler here, guys. I wonder what actually happened. Okay, so anyways, like I did previously, let me just add another ruler. All right, so our 60 degrees as usual. So I'm going to start with constructing 30 degrees. So constructing 30 degrees or bisecting 6. Let's just say bisecting here. Bisecting, that is bisecting here. 60 degrees. So bisecting 60 degrees, we are actually creating an angle of 130 degrees. And I want you to see something. If you construct an angle of 30 degrees like this, you are also constructing an angle of 150 degrees on the other side here, because remember, this is a straight line, and we said angles on a straight line they add up to 180 degrees. So if this is 30, this is also 150 degrees. So how do I construct that? Is the case now. Okay, so let's forget about this for the meantime. We want to have our 60 degrees. So this is what you're going to have, our 60 degrees as usual. So this time I'm going to work from the right side. So guys, I want you to try also on the left side. So here I'm just going to use on the right side. So remember, we said we are going to mark a point of our choice. So this is our point. So I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing this. Okay, so this is the first way. I think you can relate from this one. This is how you're going to have your 60 degrees. This one we did it. We said you're going to have an arc that you're going to mark on this side here. Our arc like something like this. Okay, I have to go back to this point here where this arc and the line meet, and I have to join back at this point. If I can see, they are joining these 2 points. So I'm having my 60 degrees. So I'm just going to join. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, so I'm just going to join this here. Okay, that's something of this nature. Let's rotate again. Okay, I'm just going to reduce this so that this ruler is too big. Okay, so that's something of this nature here. All right, something somewhere here. Okay, we can join. So since we want to bisect 60 degrees, it means our 60 degrees is not important for the meantime. So I'm just going to use it as a broken line. Since I need the angle of 30 degrees, the 60 is not important. And also this is construction. Make sure that this line, it extends a little bit. You do not just draw direct to this point. No, extend those lines. Okay. So that's what you're going to have in this case. Now I need to bisect, and take note, guys, on bisecting. This is what I want you to take note, what you're bisecting. These are the lines that are creating. Let me just put it here aside. this is what you are doing. These are the lines which are creating 60 degrees, okay? This is your 60 degrees. So you focus with the lines, these two lines which are creating that angle of 60 degrees, okay? That's your focus on these two lines which are creating the angle that you want to bisect, okay? So what do I mean in this case? I'm saying you have to focus with these two lines that are creating an angle of 60 degrees here, which is this line in black and this one in blue, this one, okay? So you just have this distance. As you can see, you haven't changed the distance so far. This one, you still have it as it is usually, the one that you had before. Okay, so you're just going to shift back to this point, okay? Take this compass to this point where, without changing this distance, already you are still having that distance that you had before. So without changing this distance, what are you going to do? You mark an arc at the point of intersection here, where this arc and the line meet. You just mark an arc inside. Guys, you want to bisect this angle. This is where your 60 is. Okay, sorry, I'm still moving without this, with this. So you mark a arc already. These are the arcs which are already marked. You're supposed to mark these arcs, but already they are marked. So I'm going to step from this. I want to bisect this, so it must be in within. That is why you're seeing me doing this. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do here. All right, so you said at this point, let us mark our arc inside the shape. Okay, we do the same from this point here where these two arcs meet. Okay, I have to mark back this arc here where it meets. Okay, like that. So it means this angle that I have created is now an angle of 30 degrees. So if I am to join this angle, it must be direct at 30 degrees. Okay, so like this, if I'm joining these two angles, must be at 30 degrees. Now this is the 30 degrees that I need, so it must be a continuous line now, like this one. Okay, and take note, we are focusing with this angle here of 30 degrees. Let me indicate this one from this point here to this point. This is your 30 degrees. Like, you are not working with this 30 that is in between. Take note about that, okay? You are not working with this 30 here. This one you just know it's 30, but do not indicate this angle. You indicate this one from the base, this one. This is the one that you indicate. So this is your 30 degrees. And what does it mean? It means that this remaining angle, the rest of this angle is going to be what? The rest of this angle is going to be 150 degrees. Now 30 from 180, which is 150 degrees. So for you to construct 30, you are constructing an angle of what? Of 150 degrees at the same time. So that's how you simply construct your angles. So that's it, guys. We have bisected 60 degrees. We have divided 60 into two equal parts. So like I said, we could have done this in an easier way. How are you going to do this? You simply need your line, okay, your point where you're going to have like a reference point in this case. Okay, so I'm just going to choose my reference point from that line. All right, so that's it here. Okay, is this ruler there? No. Okay, it's now there. So I'm just going to mark okay, this, I want you to take this step. These are the steps that you need. So all you need is to know these steps. Okay, so from these steps I want you to note, we could have just done this. Okay, I want you to see something here. We could have just done this. Mark your point, that's the one that you're going to use, which is your reference point here. You do as if you want to construct 60 degrees. Okay, but you are not going to join that 60 degrees here. This is what you're going to do. You just mark an arc here, like usually what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do for you to have your 60 degrees. All right, this is what we're supposed to have, and we know that we are supposed to come back and mark this arc, to mark here at this point here to this point. This is what we're supposed to do without changing the distance. We're supposed to mark like this, and we join these two from this point to the center. Okay, so instead of you joining, because you know that this is exactly my 60 and I need this, and I don't need this 60 degrees, I need 30. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mark here from this point without changing this distance that you used to mark. As you can see, it's still the same distance. So without changing this distance, you come to this point here where this meet with the line. Okay, you mark an arc inside, in within this region. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. In within this region, you mark an arc. Okay, you do the same where these 2 points intersect. This point you have to mark back on this. Okay, mark an arc. So maybe you can start somewhere here. I can mark an arc like this. Okay, so as you can see, these two, they are intersecting. And what am I going to do? I just have to join now. As you can see, these two, they have intersected. So I'm just going to join the two at 30 degrees. So that angle will be actually at 30 degrees. So that is the case. As you can see here, if I'm to join this, it will be at 30 degrees. So that's what you're going to have, joining these two. That's it. So I have constructed an angle of 30 degrees without any hassle, without any stress. So this is 30 degrees, this is 150 degrees, simple like that. Okay, so guys, as you can see, that's how you simply have your 30 degrees from 60 degrees without even showing the 60 degrees. I can show my 30 degrees direct. Okay, so that's it. That's how you construct an angle of 60 degrees, and you get an angle of what, of 30 degrees. Okay, also the other thing, guys, before we move on here, this is it. The question can ask you to construct an angle of what? 300 degrees. Remember, you constructed 60 degrees. When you construct 60 degrees, you're actually constructing 300 degrees. This is what you know, because angles at a point add up to 360. So let's just say this was your 60 degrees here. What does it mean? It means the remaining of this angle here is 300 degrees. Since angles at a point, they add up to 360 degrees. So that's your 300 degrees. So when you constructed 60, you were constructing 300 degrees also. So take note about that. Okay, anyways, I was just saying, but I want us to focus on the 90 degrees. So I'm just going to try to push this a little bit further here. Okay, so let's see. If we bisect our 90 degrees, then what are we going to have? We are going to have 45 degrees. So we are now bisecting, that's bisecting 90 degrees here. So in our next class, we shall do now the complete diagrams on construction and so forth. As at least you now know these angles, how they work or how do they operate, because now you just will need to apply this part in our next class. So make sure that you know each and every angle, how to construct this angle. Okay, so remember your 90 degrees, we said we need what? We need a line where we are going to start everything from. Then we just have to mark from this arc. Remember, guys, at this time I'm not going to explain much because we have already talked about this. Okay, so this is where I'm going to have it. Mark my point here where I want my 90 degrees to be at. And remember, we said we are going to take this to this side. All right, mark an arc on this side. We do the same from this side. We mark an arc. Okay, so from these two arcs, I'm going to back to these two arcs here, open more than half of the line. This is already at half, so what I need is just more than half of the line. Just make sure you open more than half of the line. Okay, like this. So with more than half of the line, what am I going to do? I have to mark an arc on top here. Okay, I have to do the same, mark an arc down here. So okay, so I'm just gonna remove this ruler, not the recording but the ruler. Okay, so this is what I'm going to have, an arc on this side, and I have to do the same from this arc here, but now stepping back to this side so that I can mark an arc here. I can see, okay, these two, they are actually intersecting. Okay, so that's it, that's good. Here they are actually also intersecting, which is good. Again, therefore, let us join our part here. That will be 90 degrees now, which means we are going to bisect. We want to bisect this 90 to obtain 45, 45. So I don't need this 90 degrees. It's just something that is help me to have my what, my 45 degrees. So I'm not going to have it as a continuous. I'm just going to have it as a broken line, since I do not need this angle here of 90 degrees. Okay, so this is my 90 degrees. Therefore, I have to bisect. So just like what I did on 30 degrees, is simply one and the same thing here. So for us to have 45 degrees, which is constructing 45, as we saw that if this is 45 degrees, the remaining of this angle is going to be 135 degrees. So if I'm constructing 45, I'm constructing 135 degrees. Okay, so how now? Okay, this is concept. You step at the point of intersection here where your 90 degrees is. Which lines are creating 90 degrees is this line and this line. So it depends. You want it to be on the right hand side or on the left hand side. So in this case, we want it on the right hand side. So this is what you're going to do. Mark an arc on this side, but make sure that your arc must pass through a point which is visible. As you can see, this point is not visible, so it's not acceptable for you to mark an arc here. So adjust this until you have a visible where the line is visible, maybe somewhere here, since it is a broken line. So adjust maybe here. As you can see that this is an intersection of a line and an arc. Okay, you do the same from this side. You just mark an arc of your choice here. So take note, guys, the point that we need is this one, the second one. This one is the one that we need. So we're going to step from this point back to the diagram that is inside here, somewhere in within this region where you want your 90 your 45 degrees to be, somewhere here. Okay, you do the same from this red, from this green one, the blue one, sorry, from this blue one here. You have to mark back here like this. All right, so that's what I'm going to have at the end. So with these two, I can actually join these two here. So let us see what you're going to have from this part. If I am to join, I'm going to obtain an angle of 45 degrees, which is 145 degrees. Now it's a continuous line because I actually need this angle. So this is the angle that I need here of 45 degrees, and this angle also be 45, but do not indicate this because we do not need. We indicate the rest of the angle that is on the line. This one, this is the angle that you're supposed to indicate. So if this is 45, this will be 135 degrees. All right, so these are the angles that we have, guys, in our syllabus, and they are very, 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 very important for you to know them, how to construct them. As you construct 45, you are constructing 135 degrees. As you are constructing 30 degrees, you are constructing 150 degrees. As you constructed 60 degrees, you constructed 120 degrees. You constructed 300 degrees at the same time. So that is what is important for you to take note. So it's very, very important, guys, in our syllabus to know these angles and how to bisect them. And yeah, I think that's what we have got. So we shall come again, guys, in our next class, now working on combination now of these with bearing and other questions. So make sure, guys, you just know the basic part of bearing, just to know what is bearing of this from that, the types of bearing, compass bearing and three-figure bearing. If not, then make sure that you watch the videos that I did on bearing. Yeah, make sure that you watch those videos on bearing so that you can understand the basic part on bearing. Okay, so that's it, guys, from Amazon African Motives, working on O-level mathematics for the meantime, till we meet again.